Hello, hello, hello. It's Betsy again. And today we are going to eliminate negative exponents, another part of our property of exponents. The only time I want to see answers for those of you that are students in any of your math problems that I have a negative exponent is if you're working with scientific notation. So we're not working with scientific notation, so I don't want any negative exponents in your answers. All right, let's get started. So number one, it says 7 to the negative 2. I want you to start by making your number into a fraction. And how do we do that? We just put a 1 underneath it. It'll be easier for you to understand this. Oops, that's a bad line, isn't it? All right. Now, if the exponent is negative and your number or variables are on the top, put them on the bottom and they become positive. So see how you got the 7 to the negative 2 on the top? Put it on the bottom and now it's positive. If there's nothing left on top, just put a 1 there. All right. So this 1 is just 1. 1 times 7 squared. You don't have to worry about that if it's a 1. All right. So what does this go down to? 7 squared. 7 times 7, 49. So 1 over 49. So right away, ding, ding, ding. One way you know that your answer is not simplified is if you still have negative exponents. You got to get rid of them. Let's take a look at this next one. So first thing I'm going to do, it's not a fraction, so I'm going to make it a fraction. All right. And remember what I told you in the last video, everything has an exponent. So when I look at this, this is 6 to the 1, n to the negative 4. Is that exponent for the 6 negative? No, it's just 6 to the 1, which is 6. Leave it on top. Now, the n has a negative exponent, so by putting it on the bottom, it is now positive. And that's your answer. Woohoo! See, this isn't that bad, eh? First thing we're going to do in the next one, let's make it a fraction. So I've got 4, and that's 4 to the 1, a to the 1, b to the negative 1. I'm going to put it all over 1. Now, 4 to the 1, that has a positive exponent, so I'm going to leave 4 to the 1, which is 4 on top. That's a to the 1, which is a. I'm leaving it alone. But the b has a negative exponent. It's on top, so I'm going to put it on the bottom, and now it's positive. And that's it. So if the negative exponent's on the top, put it on the bottom. If it were on the bottom, you'd put it on the top. Be careful, though. You've got to watch what the exponent represents. Like in this green little board here, the exponent is only with the b. It's not with the 4 or the 8. That's a common mistake that students will make. All right, so be careful of that. Let's take a look at the next one. I've got 2 to the 1, m to the 0, n to the negative 2, p to the negative 1. We're going to put that over 1. All right. Now, what you need to remember, in an earlier video, we talked about exponents of 0. If your variable or number has an exponent of 0, that means the answer is 1. So m to the 0 is just 1. And 2 times 1 is 2. Now, so we're done with that. Now, the 2 is to a positive 1. It stays on top. The n, that's a negative 2, so put it on the bottom. Now it's positive. The p is to a negative 1. Put it on the bottom. Now it's positive. If you want to put p to the 1 there, you can. So again, I want to write this a little neater. That's a 2 on the top. Oops, my pen stopped. Over n squared p. And there we go. La, 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 la. And if you have an exponent that is 0 and you're multiplying everything, you can just cross it off right away, like here in the blue one down here. X to the 0 is just 1. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. So you can just cross it out. So I got negative 2, z, y to the negative 4. If you need to put a 1 there, you can. For the negative 2, if you want to put a 1 there, you can. You see how I put in parentheses because the whole thing is to the 1. Now, when I do this, I'm going to start. I want to erase this. I don't feel that's neat enough. Let's do that again, a little neater. All right, we've got -2, that's to the 1, z, that's to the 1, and y to the -4. Since I got a negative exponent, I need to make that a fraction. So what do we get? The -2 is to the 1, so I'm leaving it alone. The z is to a +1, I'm leaving it alone. The y is to a -4, so I'm putting it on the bottom. Now it's positive. And we're done. Do, 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 do. Ooh, ooh. All right, the next one. I'm going to find a different color here. Let's use yellow. You see how everything in the parentheses is to -3? That's the same thing as a to the -3 over b to the -3. Now, the a is to a -3, put it on the bottom. Now it's positive. The b is to a -3 and it's on the bottom, put it on the top, and now it's positive. So what I could have done right off the start, I could have just flipped this, and now it's a +3. All right, the whole thing is in parentheses, so the whole thing is to the -3. You got to be careful of that. Let's take a look at the next one. I'm going to change my color again. Let's go back to my black. Here's my fraction. I'm going to put a 1 with that 7. So right now I got a 1 on the top. I got a 7 on the bottom. It's 7 to the +1, so I don't need to move it. X to the -4, that's a negative exponent. It's on the bottom, so we got to move it to the top. So now it's a +4. Y to the -1, it's on the bottom. I got to move it to the top. Now it's a +1. Or you can just write it as x to the 4th y over 7. You don't need to put the 1 out front. Whew. Take a minute, take it all in, stop the video if you need to, take a look at it, try this next problem before I do it with you. All right, so if you need to stop the video right now, it would be a good time to do so. I want you to try some of these. You can do this. Whew. All right, let's take a look at the last one. What color should I use? Let's go to white, because I think white will show up nice. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I got a lot of negatives here, so I'm going to make my fraction bar. That's 3 to the -2 on the top, so I'm going to put it on the bottom, and now it's 3 squared. X to the 4, that's a +4, so I'm going to leave it alone. Y to the -8, it's on top, put it on the bottom, and now it's positive. Z to the -2 is on the bottom, I put it to the top, and now it's a +2. And then if you want to put 3 squared as 9, that would be great. X to the 4th, z squared over 9y to the 8th, because 3 squared is 3 times 3. And I want to make sure you see that y is to the 8th. Make that 8 a little smaller down there. It's exponent 8. Ah, that doesn't look good either, does it? La la la. Let's try that one more time. 8 for an exponent. All right, how are we doing? Everybody okay? We're going to do one more page of these. Whew. Perhaps you want to stop the video and do these on your own before we start them. That would be okay. But let's do one or two first. So now we're going to put two things together. We learned the product rule for exponents, and we've learned about negative exponents. So we're going to put this all together and simplify some problems. So let's take a look at the first one. So that's 6 x to the 4th times, oops, I got to change my color here. I still have it in white, times 1 x to the -10th. So we're going to multiply the numbers out front. 6 times 1 is 6. We're multiplying. The bases are both exponents, so we're going to add the exponents. 4 plus -10. Oops. 4 plus -10. There you go. So when we do that, we get 6x. 4 plus -10 is -6. can I leave my answer like that? No, because it has a negative exponent. It's not simplified all the way. To simplify it, make your fraction bar. We'll put one right here. The 6 is to the 1, so I can leave it alone. X to the negative 6 is on the top. When I put it on the bottom, it's positive, and we're done. See, we're putting two different rules together now, and I think you can handle it. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Now, I got a -4 times a +4. A negative times a positive is a negative. If you want to, you could put ones here, and you can take 4 to the second, right? 1 plus 1 is 2. 4 squared is 16, but I'm just going to multiply it. 4 times 4 is 16. Now, A's, this is my only A. My B's, I got 3 and -3. Well, 3 plus -3 is 0. So we get, hold on, my pen stopped. We get B to the 0. And you guys know that B to the 0 is what? Yes, 1, 1, 1, 1. So now I've got a negative exponent in my answer. You're never going to have that 0 in your answer either. You should eliminate that. That's 1. So -16, that's to the 1. So that's a positive exponent. A to the -4 is it's a negative exponent. Put it on the bottom. Now it's positive. And you're done. And that's it. It's not too bad, is it? Again, try to pause the video every so often and try some of these problems by yourself. Product rule. When you multiply and the bases, those big numbers, it's a base to an exponent. When the bases are the same, add the exponents. You want your answers to always have positive exponents. That's proper math. So let's take a look at the next one. I'm going to put a 1 in front of here. I'm going to put a 1 here. 1 times 2 is 2. Then we've got V. We're multiplying, so we add the exponents, -2 plus 1. So I got 2V. -2 plus 1 is -1. And we know we cannot leave our answer like that. So I'm going to put, if you want to put it over 1 here, you can. So 2 is to the 1, leave it alone. It's to the 1. V is to the -1. It's on the top. We got to put it on the bottom. And we're done. La 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 la. All right, let's take a look at the next one. What should we do first? How about if we put these ones in for the exponents? Now we're going to multiply our coefficients. 3 times 2 is 6. We're multiplying, so when the bases are the same, we're going to add their exponents. We got a y here and a y here. So y to the -3 plus 1. And then we have this lonely x here. So the next thing we're going to do is combine those exponents. -3 plus 1 is -2x. I know I'm not done because I've got a negative exponent. The 6 is only to the 1, so leave it alone. The x is to a +1, leave it alone. The y to the -2 is on top, put it on the bottom, now it's positive. And you're done. Ta-da! Okay, how are we doing? Take a breath, relax a little bit. Maybe go get a latte or something, whatever you need to do. I've got my water here. I should really drink some more water. All right. Remember, whenever you need to stop the video and try yourself, please do so. That's fine if you do. Okay, the next one. Our coefficients are -2 and -3. When you're multiplying, you have two negatives. 2 is an even number. Your answer is going to be positive. -2 times -3 is +6. Then our bases are the same here. We got p's. So we're multiplying, so we're going to add those exponents. And when I do that, I get 6p. 2 and -4 is -2. We'll put it over 1 because I know that we're not done, and you know that we're not done because we have a negative exponent. Now that's 6 again, that's just 6 to the 1, leave it alone. And I keep saying that because that's a common mistake that students make. It's only the p that is to the -2. That 6 is to a 1. Get used to putting the ones in, it'll help you from making mistakes. So the 6 has already got a positive exponent, I'm leaving it alone. The p is to a negative exponent, I'm putting it on the bottom, now it's positive. And we're done, ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Whew. Let's take a look at the next one. We're going to be getting into the quotient rule next. And what does quotient mean? Yep, you're right. It means division. All right, let's take a look at the next one. I like this yellow. So I'm going to make my bar here. It's not a very nice bar, is it? That's all right. I got -7/3. I'm going to leave that alone. Those are to positive exponents. Those are ones. Now let's look at the top first. That a is to a -1, so I got to put it on the bottom. Now it's positive. The b is to a +6. I'm leaving it alone. The c is to a -3. I got to put it on the bottom and make it positive. The d to the 5 is positive. I'm leaving it alone. The e to the -2 on the bottom is negative. I got to put it on the top. Now it's positive. And the f to the -9 is on the bottom. I'm going to put it on the top, and now it's positive. And I'm done. None of the bases are the same, so I can't put anything together. Ta-da! If I could have reduced the 7 and 3, I would have, but I can't reduce it. So we're going to leave it the way it is. How are we doing? Everybody okay? 2 more problems, and you're going to be masters at this. Let's take a look at the next one. I want to change back to my black color. All right. Again, we got 5 times n to the -3 times 4 times n to the -3. We're going to multiply the numbers out front. 5 times 4. And why do we multiply those? Because they're coefficient. They're not exponents. The rules for exponents is when we add or subtract, which you're going to learn next with quotient. But the numbers up front, they're just numbers. Just multiply them. 5 times 4 is 20. Now we're multiplying and the bases are the same. They're both n's. So we combine the exponents. Be careful though, that does not mean make 0. You got 3 negatives and 3 more negatives. That gives you 6 negatives. And again, I don't want a negative exponent in your answer. How do we get rid of it? Easy, right? We got 20 to the 1. That's just 20. Leave it alone. N to the -6 is on top. We're going to put it on the bottom, and now it's a +6. Ta-da! And you're done. I think if you haven't paused the video yet, you should pause it now and at least try the next problem. All right? So hit that pause button and give it a shot. All right. We got 7x to the 1 times 4x to the -4. I think I'm going to use a little lighter color for this. What should we go with? Let's go with, try this. So 7 times 4 is 28. We're multiplying, so we add the exponents for the common base. So we got x to the 1 plus -4. So I've got, that's a 1 there. I'm assuming that's a 1. Okay, so now I got 28x. 1 and -4 is -3. Ding, ding, ding. We got a negative exponent, so we're not done. How do we get rid of it? It's on the top, so we move it to the bottom. Very good. The 28, that's just 28 to the 1. Leave it alone. We're going to move the x cubed to the bottom, or the x to the -3 to the bottom, and now it's positive. Whew. So what have you learned so far? When the bases are the same and you're multiplying, you add the exponents. The numbers out front, the coefficients, you just multiply them. They're not exponents. I can't say that enough again because students will mess that up. Then, if you look at your final answer and you have a negative exponent, the coefficient can be negative, the number out front, but the exponent cannot be negative. You need to continue working on the problem until you have no negative exponents. All right? All right, hope this helps. I'm here for you if you need help. Just let me know. Au revoir. La la la.